Right, so the agenda, short and simple tonight. Got the news roundup, and then Lachlan's going to show off this fancy display thing over here, connected to his Propeller 2, and we'll be running MicroPython, so that's kind of exciting. We did talk about having a comparison between the ESP32 and the ESP8266, but Sion, what happened there? So, anyway, that's not happening tonight. I made a list of some interesting hardware to tinker with, and then I thought, well, I've got a bunch of other stuff here, and so I've got this tray here which we can pass around later. But there's, like, everything on here runs MicroPython. They're all quite weird, wonderful, and varying, right? Like, we've got an e-paper device, we've got a game device, we've got our Tiny Pico we've been playing with, cameras, displays, all sorts of weird, wonderful stuff. So take a look at it. It's kind of interesting to see all the different things that can run MicroPython. The only one I don't have there is the FOMU, but we'll get to that another time. Last month I mentioned we applied for the season of docs. Unfortunately, we didn't get accepted. The good news is that we've now got like a decent list of documentation tasks that we can start to chip away at. It gives us something to focus on for the next couple of releases. And look, they had over 200 people apply, and I think they took on 50 or so. So I was still disappointed. But, you know.
There was lots of really high-profile projects that were accepted.
Yeah.
Like Python and PyPy.
Yeah.
Arduino.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they got overwhelmed. They didn't realise how many projects wanted pre-documented.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So it's a really good, initiative, and they've said that they're going to try and do it next year, and they want to expand the scope. So it's great. It's a good initiative by Google. So, we'll try again next year. Talking about Sion, he's got another couple of video tutorials since last month, so they're getting more interesting now because we've got the basics out of the way, right? So doing things like PWM and JSON and network interactions. So go check that out, they're pretty cool. PyCon AU is coming up, so there's a few talks that have been submitted for PyCon. I'm looking at that, you didn't see it?
Yes, it's trouble.
Sorry? There's a few that have been submitted.
There's sadly no IoT sub-conference.
No. So it's all part of the main conference this year if we get it. So I've applied. I know Jim applied for a couple, so I'm sure there's YouTube. Yeah, cool. So hopefully we'll get a couple of MicroPython talks accepted. We'll find out in a couple of weeks. 2nd of June, they'll announce that. So yeah, fingers crossed. Speaking of PyCon, this is the US one though. There was a couple of interesting talks that went on then. Nina Zakharenko, she gave a keynote and talked about CircuitPython and controlling LEDs, and that's actually really quite a nice talk. And then after the main conference, Scott gave a talk on the history of CircuitPython. Talked a little bit about MicroPython and working with Damien. But there was heaps of other talks, obviously, at PyCon. There weren't many more MicroPython talks, but if you're interested in Python in general, it's some really good material there. All available online. MicroPython on SAMD. So SAMD are the range of microcontrollers that Atmel and now Microchip make. They're really popular. All of the Adafruit stuff is all using SAMD at the moment. Really good little micros. Looking across at Damien because he managed to have a bit of a where is it? Got a Trinket M0 here that now runs MicroPython, which is kind of cool. It also forms, I think, a pretty good example of how to do a port. So there was already a small example on how to do that, but now I've got a second one, I suppose. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it would be good to just keep really basic implementation frozen somewhere so people can see exactly how to make it really simple.
Yeah.
Microcontroller. Because it's not, I mean, it doesn't use any header files, it's just writes to registers directly and just does a UART record, but it works. Yeah,
we can, later on, whoever wants to see it, we'll come show you a MicroPython REPL running over the M0 there, so that's pretty neat. What's we got? Just last night, they finally announced the new ESP32. So there's an ESP32 S2 that'll be available soon. It's a pretty interesting collection of features. It's not all better, it's not all worse. It's just a different chip. It shares a lot of the same stuff though. So all your PWM, timers, all that kind of stuff is all very similar. They've decided to add a bunch more GPIO. They've dropped a core, so it's only a single core, although it's a more powerful core. It's certainly around for certainly for floating point arithmetic, it's much faster. They've dropped Bluetooth, but they've added USB support, which is really welcome. A couple other bits and pieces, LCD and camera support. They're going to support those out of the box. They've also got some security stuff as well, AES and RSA encryption. The other thing that's pretty amazing is that they're aiming this board to be cheaper. So I haven't got any pricing yet, but that's what I've been told. So I'm sure just like a lot of ESPs, they'll be pretty popular.
I think they want to kill off the 8266.
I think you're probably right. I mean, there's no real reason for the 8266 to exist with this, I would say, unless it's significantly cheaper. So
Good move.
yeah, nice one. Credit to Adafruit, congrats to them. They've got CircuitPython 4 out, which took a long time in development. I think it was a bit of a bigger release than they'd sort of expected. So it's got Bluetooth stuff. They've ported to the Nordic 52840. They've got Display I/O, which is a module to do rendering on displays. They've added MIDI over USB. And they've got like a whole bunch of different languages supported for their messages, so it's a really established release. It's pretty good. Yeah. Something like that.
Big on.
Sorry, distracted. Damien gave a talk here back in, I want to say November, I think. In November, talking about how to wrap C modules, and the example he had was with Nano JPEG library, which is a C library. And when we finally got to the end of it, we found that it was using too much memory for the microcontroller. So one of the people in the MicroPython forum saw that video, liked it, found a library that was designed to interpret JPEGs, and has now released that. So it'll kind of complete that presentation thing. So that's kind of cool. On Kickstarter, there's the 32-bit. Not targeting MicroPython at the moment, it's only using Lua or C, but it's by the Pimoroni folks. Pretty powerful microcontroller, 400 meg H7 from STM32, from the STM32 range. Ton of flash, looks like a really neat sort of, really neat sort of game device. It looks really nice actually. Sorry, I thought I'd list that because we could easily run MicroPython on it. If you go on the beta release, it's about $120. It's $175 for the regular price. Speaking of gaming devices, Adafruit's getting in on the act as well. So they're using a SAMD 51. This one's been announced. I don't think you can buy it yet. It's a little bit lower down in specs. 8 meg flash, 160 by 128 display, but it's only $40. So it's pretty nice. Someone posted about this the other day. If you're trying to get into Nordic development, this is a really neat little development board that you can just buy from DigiKey for like $10 US. It's at the good end of the Nordic range. It's 256K RAM and mega flash. So if you're interested in all that kind of stuff, it's a neat little board. And on Hacker News, this board made the rounds, which was ESP32 based. Weird combination of features though. It's a PS2. Mouse and keyboard and VGA output, but with 8 meg of PS RAM and 4 meg of flash, and it's $14 US, so hard to beat the price, I guess. And they've also got a bunch of games they've already ported to this, so it's pretty neat. And Decade. So I threw this in there. This is currently it's just using a what is it, an 18 mega 328, but it's just too cute, right? Like we could stuff anything into this thing. It's a PCB that they've used here. They just print out like a single board PCB. You just cut it up and form it into a little arcade machine. So if you want to play with that, I thought that was just awesome. Yeah, it's cool. And that's all I had for you, I think. So I don't know if our pizzas look like they've just arrived, so that's a good time.